Saudi Arabia has changed its mind and is now urging Trump to go to war with Iran. Go figure, no honor amongst crooks and thieves, right? Saudi Defense Minister Khalid bin Salman, KBS, said in a private briefing on Friday in Washington that if President Trump doesn't follow through on his threats against Iran, the regime will end up stronger, 4 sources in the room told Axios. This is a direct reversal of the public statement Saudi Arabia has been making, cautioning the U.S. not to strike Iran. Saudi Arabia, over the last several months, has been saying a lot of things that sounded actually really nice, sounded like music to my ears. They were talking about, well, first of all, they were really getting into a lot of fights with the Israelis. They were saying things like, hey, maybe we should have a joint Turkey-Pakistan military pact, maybe Qatar as well. Recently you had Pakistan and Saudi Arabia actually form a military security framework. So that was big news. And Saudi Arabia was in a lot of, I guess, standoffs with Israel and the UAE across the Middle East and North Africa, as well as in Somalia. OK, so this was all going on, and it sounded really nice. And the Saudis were doing a lot of diplomatic work to try and pressure the United States against war on Iran. Why, you ask? Is it some ideological, plight they suddenly found for the Shia IRGC? The answer is obviously no. The answer is it was in their strategic interest because Saudi Arabia obviously has U.S. military assets as well as a bunch of oil fields, which are very easy to target. So easy to target that it actually forced the Saudis to effectively cease their near genocidal campaign against the people of Yemen in the U.S.-Saudi naval blockade and war on Yemen, which lasted about a decade. And obviously, if Iran is threatened, anything is on the table. U.S. military assets as well as oil and gas assets across the Persian Gulf and countries that are not so friendly. Seems as though they had a price tag for their loyalty. And we covered this, that Saudi and Israeli officials were in D.C. this week amid the tensions on Iran. Now, no one really knew what the Saudis were going to be saying in these meetings. No one knew what was on the agenda, which way they were going to pressure the U.S. to move. Well, now, according to Axios, we do have some information. The Saudi defense minister and head of Israeli intelligence are meeting U.S. leaders as Trump weighs potential strikes on Iran. Military buildup in the Gulf is underway, with allies on high alert for what could be a major move in the region. We did see that Lindsey Graham met with the Saudi defense minister, Prince Khalid bin Salman, and he said, wow, these people are clever, which definitely was kind of a shocking post for him to make, given Saudi's stance over the past few months in publicly defending Iran. Well, we saw that at the same time this was all going down, Saudi Arabia, who's been begging for F-35s for a very long time, and Israel doesn't want them to have F-35s, but they have been really lobbying for those F-35s. The U.S. State Department announced that they have approved a potential foreign military sale to Saudi Arabia for PAC-3 MSE missile segment enhancement missiles and related equipment with an estimated value of $9 billion. Okay, so that's a big treat for the Saudis. And you could probably imagine that if they were in these meetings with U.S. defense officials saying, don't even think about bombing Iran, they would not have gotten that military deal. Also, it would probably not help them to get F-35s if, in fact, they were, again, pressuring the U.S. against striking Iran. Well, that seems to be exactly what did the trick, because according to Axios, Saudi Arabia has changed its mind and is now urging Trump to go to war with Iran. Go figure, no honor amongst crooks and thieves, right? Saudi Defense Minister Khalid bin Salman, KBS, said in a private briefing on Friday in Washington that If President Trump doesn't follow through on his threats against Iran, the regime will end up stronger, 4 sources in the room told Axios. This is a direct reversal of the public statement Saudi Arabia has been making, cautioning the U.S. not to strike Iran. Now, obviously, this is just stupid because if they do strike Iran, what's going to happen? The people are going to unify around the government. The idea that they're going to dislodge like the Islamic Republic of Iran in some short-scale war is ludicrous and absurd. That's not going to happen. Long-scale war, long war, I mean, anything could happen. Anything could happen with the right amount of money, right amount of troops. But obviously, I don't think the U.S. really wants to send a bunch of troops into Iran because that's not going to reflect well on Trump. So I don't think, actually, scratch that. I know that with the U.S. assets in the region and what the U.S. is in all likelihood prepared to commit to an operation like this, they in no way, shape, or form have enough power to take out the Islamic Republic of Iran, the regime, as they call it on CNN and MSNBC. So a failed operation to dislodge the government in Iran, how is that not going to result in the Iranian government becoming stronger, more emboldened, more anti-Western, more opposed to any future negotiations or diplomacy with the U.S.? You get the idea. I mean, we are just isolating ourselves in the worst way possible. This, by the way, is really an attack against China. China needs Iran. Iran is crucial for China. And it's not because they get a lot of oil from Iran. They get some oil from Iran, but not like a crazy amount or anything. Iran is crucial for the Belt and Road Initiative. And how has China had so much success all across the world, in trade, becoming the number one import-export partner of so many countries? This freaks out the U.S., of course. How have they done that? Have they done that by doing what the U.S. is threatening to do against Iran right now? No, of course not. They have done that through win-win cooperation and good relations, good investment that doesn't come with a million strings attached, not making countries vassal states of their foreign policy goals. It's so obvious how the U.S. could win, but instead we choose to go down this path. Saudi defense minister has informed U.S. officials that an attack on Iran should be carried out so that Iran does not emerge stronger from the current situation. Disgusting. Disgusting. We're Saudi Arabia. We're so progressive. We send a woman to our diplomatic meetings, you guys, and we're so progressive and humane, unlike the caricatures of us that will now join in your calls to bomb a bunch of innocent civilians in Iran. We're so progressive and humane. Disgusting. Now, Qatar, who again has been very close with all these countries I just mentioned, which have been saying a lot of nice things about Iran over the past few weeks and months. Qatar's foreign minister, Mohammed bin Abdulrahman, arrived in Tehran, reportedly carrying a final message from the United States to Iran's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei. Now, this has been confirmed that, in fact, what the foreign minister of Qatar was doing in Tehran was to carry a final message from the United States to Iran. Well, whether it's a final message or not, who knows? But it was to carry a message from the United States directly to the Iranians. And we just have another breaking news. Hebrew media says Iran and the United States are both negotiating to waste time. President Trump is hesitant about quickly entering a conflict with Iran that could last several months and prefers to have time to think. Iran, on the other hand, wants to avoid a conflict with the U.S. for as long as possible while it knows a deal is impossible. That's a pretty actually accurate, I think, analysis of the situation right now. Everyone sees where this is headed, regardless of whether it happens today, tomorrow, the next, or a month from now. We all see where this is headed. If anything has made me believe it's going to go in one direction or another over the past 24 hours, it looks like that it is going to take maybe, I don't know, maybe another month. It does look like that things are being delayed. That seems to be where we are headed. Although the Iranians are obviously preparing for the worst right now, it does seem as though things are being delayed. But kind of what happened last time. Let's have another diplomatic meeting, 7th diplomatic round in Oman.
All those monarchies are scum. Not to be trusted.
They're definitely not to be trusted. right? They said, come to Oman, let's have a meeting. And then they started bombing. So it could be that. Could be that. Could be a giant psyop, right? Now, Turkey, Arakci, the foreign minister of Iran, said this about Turkey today. Always pleased to engage with President Erdogan and Foreign Minister Fidan on Iran-Turkey bilateral relations and regional issues of common concern. In our conversations, I reiterated that Iran has never sought nuclear weapons and is ready to embrace a fair and equitable nuclear deal that meets the legitimate interests of our people. This includes ensuring no nuclear weapons and guaranteeing the lifting of sanctions. Yeah, that's not on the agenda. The agenda is not only no nuclear weapons, no ballistic missiles, and no uranium enrichment, which is absurd. Along with other brotherly neighbors, Turkey has extended its good offices in pursuit of peace and stability in the region. The Islamic Republic of Iran is grateful for such efforts and welcomes them. And we also had this today. This was 1 hour ago. Bahrain tests nationwide emergency alert system on mobile devices. Bahrain's Interior Ministry ran a nationwide trial of its new wireless emergency alert system, sending vibrations, 10-second tones, and bilingual messages to all compatible phones on 4G and 5G networks. The tests verified quick delivery of urgent warnings for threats like natural disasters or security issues, with iPhone users advised to update to iOS 26.2. Okay, blah, blah, blah. So that is how the region is responding. That's how Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Israel, Bahrain, and Qatar are currently dealing with this situation. The only real shocker here is that Saudi Arabia has flipped. I think the real shocking position was that Saudi Arabia was so publicly defending Iran over the past few months. And this is actually unsurprising that they've now taken this position. So there you have it. That's as the region stands today on the precipice of what could be a war, but might not be. I guess we'll see in a few hours. I am not of the belief that it will happen right now, but again, could be a major psyop. Before you leave, I want to say thank you for the support, because after 2 years of being banned, we are finally back home on YouTube. So be sure to subscribe to our channel and also join as a member on our channel using the link at the top of the description. I rely on the generous support of viewers like yourself to get the truth out to as many people as possible. You can also support the show on Locals or Give Sin Go. The mainstream media and the powers that be are never going to stop attacking us for bringing the truth to as many people as we do. Thank you so much for your support.